Join us as we dive into our obsession with true crime, history, and mysterious stories. Each Corrupted Clip episode is less than 30 minutes long, providing you with the perfect bite-sized content to get you through the day.
We assume no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in the content of this episode. The Corrupt Podcast is based on the facts and our opinions of the case. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Corrupt Podcast.
Karen Schepers, a 23-year-old resident of Elgin, Illinois, was last seen around 1 a.m. on April 16, 1983. She had a fun night out with friends, but never arrived home. Her sudden vanishing would result in a decades-long hunt for answers.
So we have guests on the show today, Chelsea and Shannon from Keystone Cold Cases. Can you guys tell us about your podcast and how our listeners can find you?
So Keystone Cold Cases is a true crime podcast dedicated to uncovering unsolved and overlooked cases in Pennsylvania. Our team is very victim focused in our approach, so we do thorough research and we bring local insight because a lot of us are from different areas of pretty much the southeastern part of the state. But, we do have a lot of followers from out west, towards the Pittsburgh area. So we get a lot of input from them as well. But which is actually really great. Like after a case airs, if somebody's familiar with it, they'll write in and give us some additional details and stuff. So, but as far as, what the cases we do, anything that we may have a personal connection to, we do like to kind of bring that into the podcast. And our focus is mainly, just bringing these old cases back to, the forefront a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, at least we're trying to put it back out there so that, it can get some renewed interest.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We're very excited for this collaboration.
We are too.
Yeah.
We want to give a shout out to our newest Patreon member, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. Today's episode was recommended to us by a listener, Kathy. Just a quick reminder that case suggestions can be sent to corruptpod@gmail.com.
Karen Lee Schepers was born in San Francisco, California on September 20th, 1959, to parents Lauren and Elizabeth. She was the second oldest of 9 children.
I think that is absolutely amazing because I just don't know how families can support that many children. Though at the time they were kind of experiencing that post-war economic boom, but still, that's a lot of children.
It would be tough to support 9 children for sure. I cannot imagine. In 1960, the family moved to Iowa. Then 5 years later, the family relocated to Sycamore, Illinois, after Liz and Lauren divorced. Karen was a good student, talented singer, and part of the high school dance team. She loved to play piano. Being the second oldest of 9, Karen played a mother hen type role in the household. Her siblings remember Karen for her kindness. At Christmas time, the 9 siblings were each given $5 each, and they pulled a name from a hat, kind of like a white elephant gift exchange. Every year, Karen would stretch her $5 to buy all 8 of her siblings a present instead of just one.
That's absolutely awesome. I really love a savvy girl because she's trying to stretch her money as far as she can.
Yeah, that's so generous of her. I love that. In 1977, Karen graduated from Sycamore High School. Out of high school, she moved to Elgin, Illinois, and for a short time lived with her dad and his new wife. Things became tense between Karen and her father's new wife, and Karen moved out pretty quickly.
She got her first apartment at 311 Lovell Street on the east side of Elgin. Whatever had occurred at her father's house had been rough, and Karen refused to provide her new address for fear of the new wife finding out where she lived. At the same time, Karen accepted a position as a computer programmer at First Chicago Bank Card.
I think that's extremely sad. I wonder if her father knew about his girlfriend's attitude toward her, because I just hate when parents don't stand up for their children. They take the side of their new partner. It's heartbreaking.
It really is, and it makes you think it was a very toxic situation. that she had to move out quickly and then doesn't want the new wife to know where she is. Karen met her boyfriend, Terry Schultz, in 1979 when he delivered pizza to her apartment. They started dating and became unofficially engaged in 1982.
Okay, that needs to be a rom-com right there.
It's like a meet cute, right? It's like such a cute love story. Like he just delivered pizza to my house.
Yeah. How'd you meet Daddy, Mommy? Well, he was the delivery man. Pizza delivery man. Just a couple months later, in the spring of 1983, Karen and Terry called off their engagement, but they continued dating. Karen was a very responsible person. At 23 years old, she carried life insurance and purchased a piano for her apartment. Karen had also purchased a brand new 1980 yellow Toyota Celica with red accent stripes, and by 1983, she had it paid off. She had money in savings and no credit card debt. Her job at First Chicago Bank came with a $25,000 salary in 1983, which is the equivalent of an $80,000 salary today. Still, Karen lived frugally, making good financial decisions for her age. By all accounts, she wasn't a person who would decide to walk away from it all.
On tax day, Friday, April 15th, 1983, a group from First Chicago Bank were heading to a bar after work to celebrate. Approximately 20 people had been promoted or graduated from a program at the office. We're not sure if Karen was one of the recently promoted or if she just went along to celebrate with her friends. They arrived pretty early at a bar named PM Bentley's in Carpentersville, Illinois.
Around 9 or 9:30, Karen used a payphone to call Terry. He refused to come to the bar, and it upset Karen. She was seen crying after the phone call, but she did try to shake it off and not let it ruin her evening.
She went on to participate in a hula hoop contest, and Karen seemed to be having a good time. The contest was over around 12:30 to 1 a.m. The group of friends she had started the evening with had left already, and out of her friends, Karen was the last one at the bar.
Karen was last seen at the bar around 1 to 1:30 a.m., wearing a tan-hooded corduroy jacket. After that, Karen and her car disappear without a trace. She wasn't reported missing until the following Monday morning when she didn't show up for work.
The Elgin Police Department got involved right away. They interviewed Karen's coworkers and other customers at the bar. They also checked her bank records, but there was no activity, and no one knew if or when she had left the bar. When Karen was last seen, she did not appear to be drunk, so alcohol was not considered to be a factor in her disappearance.
I feel like this happens way too often, that someone's out at a bar or a restaurant with friends and they either leave alone without anyone's knowledge or friends let them leave on their own, despite not appearing drunk, which we know means very little. Somebody can not look drunk, but it doesn't mean that their, blood alcohol level isn't at the point of impairment. That Riley strain comes to mind from I think it was at Nashville. And we know that she was upset at some point during the evening, but maybe we have different ideas of the responsibility work friends have for each other. I had a coworker do this. We were all out like for a football game, I think, and she pieced out of the bar, just left, didn't alert anybody that she was leaving, and she wasn't answering her cell phone. So I vaguely knew where she lived, like the area of her apartment. So I was like, I'm going to drive around and see if I can find these apartments and see if she got home okay. And then she finally called me and said she had gotten home. But for a while, it was like, what? Like, what? I don't know. She just took off and didn't bother to tell anybody.
How scary.
Yeah.
I love that you took the initiative to think about tracking her down.
Thank you.
It comes back to bar safety 101. Like, if you go together, leave together.
Right.
Aerial searches were done over woods and bodies of water. The police contacted other jurisdictions, checking all 50 states for Karen's car, possible arrests or hospital entries.
Karen's father, who was a pilot, rented a plane to search for Karen himself. Like the prior searches, he found no trace of Karen's distinctive bright yellow Toyota with the license plate number XP8919. The family also hired a psychic and passed out missing posters.
PM Bentley's was a bar known to get rowdy on the weekends, so the police started there with the possibility that something happened to Karen while she was at or leaving the bar. The bar was so rough and the police called so frequently, when the lease was up, the city wouldn't approve renewal and the bar closed in 1985 or 1986.
Just a week after Karen's disappearance, another woman reported having a scary encounter in the parking lot when some guy admitted he was the one who kidnapped Karen. At the same time, April 14th through the 24th, there was a carnival going on at the shopping center parking lot where PM Bentley's was located. The PM Bentley's owner, Frank, said, "I remember there was a spring carnival, and it came to Carpentersville every year, and every year crime would go up."
Honestly, I'm pretty sure that these traveling carnivals, like probably then and to today, are really not that strict or diligent in their hiring practices. Guaranteed people are not vetted.
Yeah, all that comes to mind for me is Water for Elephants. I love that movie so much.
And the book. I'm just going to put my 2 cents in there. Read the book.
Course.
The book is good.
Of course. Paige always reads the books. I see the movies.
Elgin police released the investigation to the Illinois State Police between 1988 or 1989. Nothing was turned up, and the case went cold.
20 years later, in 2009, the Elgin PD took the case back. They created a cold case unit in October 2024. Andrew Houghton and Matt Vartanian started with Karen's case. With no physical evidence or witnesses, they looked at her social security number, bank accounts, and credit. There had been no activity since 1983.
The detectives created a podcast, Somebody Knows Something, documenting their 6-month search and asking for the public's help.
I wish more PDs would recognize that they can use streaming and social media as a tool, yet some are way more old school and they immediately dismiss it without thinking of the possibility what it could garner for them. It is a tool that they should learn how to utilize.
Absolutely. I think this idea from Elgin was really groundbreaking, and it was really well orchestrated. Imagine how hard it was for them to share just that right information without oversharing something crucial.
Next, they looked at the path Karen would have taken home from PM Bentley's to the east side of Elgin. One of Karen's possible routes would have been along Duncan Avenue, which ran right beside the Fox River. They were the first investigators to look at bodies of water as a possible cause for her disappearance.
Were there little to no resources to search in the water before this? Today, there seems to be an abundance of rescue divers that do all of these searches. I've been down that rabbit hole on YouTube many, many times.
I just want to say that sometimes it just takes that right set of eyes to crack a case. And I love that he was thinking outside the box to kind of generate possible leads.
The waterways had been searched by plane on multiple occasions, but I don't believe that a dive team had actually checked the water specifically for Karen. And I'm with you, it is kind of like a rabbit hole now because we're finding tons of vehicles from 30, 40 years ago.
It's fascinating.
It really is.
It's a booming business, those divers.
Mm-hmm.
Elgin has 4 bodies of water, with the largest being Fox River. Fox River is 200 miles long, running from Wisconsin and through Illinois. Typically, the river through Elgin is 4 to 5 foot deep, with occasional pockets of 13-foot depth. Searching the waterways, the detectives discovered that there had been flooding the week prior to Karen's disappearance. The Fox River was at the highest recorded level, which would have resulted in water lying on roadways that had never before had water issues, or could have had Karen turning around due to high water and taking another route home. The temperature had also been below freezing when Karen was making that 1 a.m. trek home.
Aerial views of the Fox River and surrounding area were reviewed for months. A dam had been added, lowering the water levels and changing the position of the river in those 40 years. They compared how the river looked today to 1983 and made a plan. The police contacted a nonprofit organization, Chaos Divers, to search the Fox River. Chaos Divers is a group of volunteers that doesn't charge police or families. It's all free. They're just ready to help. It's a fantastic organization, and we'll list their website in our episode notes.
In March 2025, a plan created between law enforcement and chaos divers. They would systematically search the east side of the Fox River over a 5 to 7 day period. If they didn't find Karen, they would search the west side of the river at a later date. The police department and chaos divers team braved the 40-degree March temperature on boats. The chaos team used sonar for an initial inspection and then sent divers back down if they found something in the water. This is what they were doing on March 24th, 2025.
They had used sonar over a particular portion of the river 3 or 4 times and sent a diver down to investigate. The area was about 6 to 8 feet deep, forming a mini ravine at the bottom of the river. The diver brought back up a gas cap and headlight that were both confirmed to not be from Karen's car. There were also 2 tractor tires in the area. At 4:45 p.m., they were heading in without success. The plan was to check off that portion of the river as searched and move on to a new section of the river the following day.
At the last moment, they decided to double-check the small ravine area of the river again. Some of the team was already on shore, and the divers had taken off their gear. Sonar was used again, but this time they found what appeared to be an upside-down car. The diver put his gear back on for one more attempt. He was on the bottom of the river for 6 minutes, and when he came up, he had a mud-covered license plate in his hand. Although the front was mud and rust-covered, they could clearly see XP8919 stamped from the rear of the plate. They had found Karen's Toyota Celica at last.
The car was inspected while at the bottom of the river. There were unidentified human remains found inside. It would take time to confirm the remains were Karen's, but her personal belongings were located in the car as well. A sapphire ring and a 1977 graduation tassel were still inside the car. The windows were up, but the rear hatch window was broken.
The recovery process for cars and bodies of water is absolutely incredible. And obviously, there's a lot of factors to consider when planning recovery. Most importantly, the care needed when there are remains present.
It's very true. There's videos online of Karen's Toyota being pulled so slowly and delicately from the Fox River. Like they didn't want to lose a single piece. Like it was handled with so much care.
I actually found that video and watched that just a little while ago.
It's amazing.
It was crazy. So crazy.
Karen's car was small. For comparison, a 2025 Toyota Camry would be 2 feet longer and 4 inches taller than the Celica. The Celica was also heavier than today's cars. Most of the weight was in the front end due to the engine. It's possible that it flipped upside down almost immediately due to that engine weight and the inflated tires. Then the car floated approximately a mile down the Fox River before settling to the river floor.
If there was flooding the week prior, it definitely makes sense how the car could have been pulled that far away. Water is just so powerful and definitely underestimated. You should just ask Shannon how paranoid I am about water and how it creates scary, unassuming situations.
Oh, I'm with you there. I'm afraid of the ocean that's 98% undiscovered. I'll stay on land. Thanks. The detectives had been in contact with Karen's mother and siblings during the investigation and search. Karen's mother was now 90 years old. When she heard that Karen's car had been located after 41 years and 11 months, the first thing she asked was how the detectives were doing. And this was so sweet of her, especially after so many years and just asking how these detectives were doing, putting so much hard work into this. It's incredible.
Not long after Karen's car was pulled from the river, investigators received a tip from a woman named Jane that filled in some of the missing information on how Karen ended up in the river. Jane worked at First Chicago Bank Card, but was in a different department than Karen, so she was never interviewed by police in the original 1983 investigation. Jane had attended the celebration at the bar, and most importantly, she had seen Karen walk to her car. Jane said that Karen still looked upset about her boyfriend not being at the celebration, and Jane told Karen to be safe on her way home. Jane then saw Karen turn on to Illinois Route 25, heading south towards her Elgin apartment. Karen was alone in the car and appeared to be sober when she drove away.
I wonder why she had not come forward when Karen had originally went missing. I feel like this information would have been extremely helpful to the investigators so they were not spiraling for weeks, months, years. I mean, if the police don't come to you, go to them. Even if the information might seem mundane, knowing you could have been the last person to see someone missing, that's critical.
Honestly, I thought the same thing. Even though she was in a different department, she clearly knew that Karen was missing. But she apparently didn't connect those dots that she was the last person to see Karen alive.
The autopsy confirmed the remains found in the car belonged to Karen. She showed no sign of injuries from a crash, bullets, broken bones, or other serious injuries. Her 1980 Toyota would have been equipped with seatbelts, but the airbags wouldn't have been standard until 1989.
Her car was in very good condition. A master technician from Toyota inspected the car. The front two tires were flat, so he inflated them, and they still held air 42 years later. The vehicle also had no exterior impact damage, confirming she wasn't involved in a collision or pushed off the side of the road by impact. The fully inflated tires meant that her car would have remained buoyant enough to float downriver farther than had been originally estimated.
That's a Yoda for you. My comments are like off the wall, guys.
It's because you love your Toyotas.
I do. Karen's keys were found in the ignition, and the ignition was still on. Her 5-speed manual transmission was stuck in 4th gear, and the emergency brake had been pulled completely up.
I wonder if something or someone darted out in front of the car, causing her to lose control and throw on the emergency brake to stop the car.
Yeah, that's a good thought. That's very possible. I was thinking also like maybe she was driving on the road when it was flooded and she felt the need to pull the emergency brake to try and like stay in one place. But regardless, an emergency brake won't stop a car, from floating away. It may have bought her some time to escape, but it's not going to stop it. After the discovery of Karen's car, a story from 2022 surfaced. A fisherman had been using sonar while out on his boat, and he found an unusually large object in the Fox River. He reported it to the police department, who sent it to the fire department.
The Elgin Fire Department did investigate by sending a dive team out. That diver had literally touched the Toyota's tire, but determined the tires were too small for a vehicle. It was more likely an ATV or a UTV. No further investigation was conducted. The fire department has since changed their protocol. To be fair, though, the Toyota had 14-inch size wheels, and a 2015 Polaris RZR, for example, also has 14-inch size wheels. At the same exact size, underwater with a rusty upside-down car, you can clearly see how this was missed.
I'm still so astonished that the car was hidden in the water for this many years.
In an area that's usually not that deep, too.
Exactly.
So what happened to Karen Schepers? Investigators believe that she left the bar alone sometime after 1:30 a.m. on April 16, 1983. Her most direct route home from Illinois Route 25 would have been Duncan Avenue. Duncan was close to the flooded Fox River, and although there were other entry points, this one was within 1.5 miles of where her car was found, and seems the most likely. Karen's car was traveling more than 20 miles per hour in the dark. She might not have seen the water or hit an icy patch.
Or possibly she was distracted over being upset with her boyfriend. Could be a reason she didn't see the water or wasn't being cognizant of, possible ice. I mean, it was clearly obvious something was going on between the two of them. That weight can be heavy on someone's mind. And if you're like me, sometimes you dissociate when you're driving. You don't know how you get from point A to point B.
Or if you're like Paige, you have no sense of direction.
Dang, thrown under the bus.
You love me.
I do. It's true, though. I have zero sense of direction, so I would just be lost. It definitely could have been distracted driving. She had also worked that day, so she could have been, exhausted at 1 a.m. driving home.
Do we know how much her boyfriend was involved with helping find her?
The police did actually look at Terry as a possible suspect in the beginning. He was given a lie detector test, which he passed. It would appear that he also helped Karen's dad search for her as well.
Okay, good. He better have. I was about to point all fingers towards Terry. It's not slander. We're not doing that.
Oh my gosh.
It's never boring.
We know that Karen did pull her emergency brake. The car may have rolled into deeper water, and without airbags, her head may have suffered an impact, knocking her unconscious. It would appear at that point that she was swept into the flooded river.
On April 16th, 2025, exactly 42 years after her disappearance, a funeral was held for Karen Lee Schepers. The family, including all 8 siblings, friends, co-workers, and investigators, gathered at the Sycamore United Methodist Church. In lieu of flowers, the family requested donations to be made to Chaos Divers. Karen was finally laid to rest at the Elmwood Cemetery. And that's a wrap for this collab with Chelsea and Shannon at Keystone Cold Cases. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, and we got to do it again.
Thank you so much for having us. Honestly, it's a blast working with you guys.
Yes, for sure. This has been fun.
We would love for you to become part of the Corrupt crew. You can find us on Patreon with multiple tiers and PayPal. This will score you our appreciation and will announce your name in a future episode. Both links are in the episode notes. Case suggestions and feedback can be emailed to us at corruptpod@gmail.com.
The sources for this episode would be listed in the episode notes. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Don't forget to subscribe to catch our new Corrupt content. Please also leave us a review wherever you're listening to this episode. Bye.
Bye.